Well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation. I was born in Athens, grew up in Decatur, and been married for almost 22 years in August to my wife, Erin. And I've been teaching and coaching now for 25 years and just completed my 8th year as a head coach at Sparkman High School. Well, I think the biggest misconception is that kids, they don't really know what it takes in terms of the work ethic. Uh, they, they think that they have to put this amount of work in, but it's not the amount of work that needs to be put in. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions. Oh, I can play on this level, I can play on that level. And it's like, are you putting in the necessary work to play on that level? And so I try to stress to the guys that this is what you have to do. I'll bring former players in that play on that level. You know, I'll have them talk to them sometimes, send them a message, a video message, show them a workout that they're doing. And, you know, I tell them, like, okay, I had a kid that played at Tennessee. You know, I've coached a kid that's played at Auburn. And so I know what those guys did in the gym to get to that point in their life and that level. And so that's probably the biggest misconception to me. Well, number one, they asked me, you know, what kind of kid he is. You know, you go back to the character. You know, do they make good decisions? Are they good kids? Uh, you know, do they have good academics? Another big question is asked. You know, what kind of student are they? You know, what's their ACT score, their GPA? How do they interact with their student body? How do they interact with their teammates? Are they a great teammate? See, we're looking at things right now, questions that's being asked to me by colleges in terms of building towards the potential as a basketball player. I'm you know, I'm talking about what kind of person, what kind of character, what kind of teammate, what kind of body language do they have when they play the game? Is it negative or is it positive? I mean, that's a question too I get asked. Coach, what's he like around your guys? You know, is he a bad teammate or a good teammate? Does he have a good attitude? So all those things come into play, you know, with college recruiters when you talk about these athletes being recruited. Well, when you talk about the student athlete, you talk about behavior in school, their academics. You know, those are things that they're responsible for. You know, I've got to go to class every day and I've got to get my grades. I don't need to be distracted by another person in class or distracted by another student in the school that might take them on another path instead of their dream or their goal of becoming a basketball player. And also at the same time with the student athlete, they got to have this mindset that nothing is going to get in my way, tunnel vision, this mindset of this is what I want to do. This is plan A, no plan B, no alternative. This is what I want to do, and this is what I've got to do to get to that point. When you talk about the parent, I think it's very important for the parent to be supportive, you know, of that child, that kid wanting to play, you know, basketball or the sport that they want to play in to be recruited. I think they have to be able to support, be that support system that carries them to workouts, carries them to individual developments. carries them to colleges, is there to, bounce out ideas off of them. Okay, this is what I want to do. All right, this is what we need to do. So I think that's very important for the parent. When you talk about the teacher, I think the teacher has to be there for the student in terms of teaching them not only the curriculum, but teaching them about life, getting them ready for things like, okay, your work ethic in the classroom can translate to your work ethic on the floor, all right? How you interact with your classmates in class can translate to your interaction with your teammates on the floor. So I think the teacher can build those kinds of attributes, those kinds of characteristics that a kid needs in the recruiting process. When you talk about the counselor, I think the counselor comes into play when you talk about being academically eligible. Like, okay, what are the standards? What are the NCAA standards? What's the NCAA clearinghouse? What do I need to make on my ACT? What is my GPA? You have the lineup of ACT GPA. The higher your ACT score, the lower your GPA can be. The lower your ACT score, the higher your GPA has to be. So they need to know all of the standards and also with the clearinghouse, the curriculum that they have to take to be eligible to play on that level. Well, the first thing that I tell them is that, there are a million guys out there that play basketball and they want a scholarship. And I always tell them, what separates you from those other guys? What separates you? Man, I'll tell them, man, they'll say, Coach, I'm 6'1", I'm 6'2". And I'll say, come on, man. There's a lot of 6'1s and 6'2s out there that can play basketball. And I'll say, what separates you from all the 6'1s and 6'2s out there? See, that's a big key. What separates you, okay? What kind of kid are you? You a good kid? Because if you 6'1 and you're a good kid and the other guy's a 6'1 and he's a bad kid, well, they're taking the good kid. What kind of grades do you have? Do they have to worry about you when you get on a college campus about, are you going to make this bad decision? Are you going to not go to class? You're not going to get your grades? Those kinds of things. That's very important, and I tell the kid that. And then I tell him, I said, okay, how hard are you going to work? I said, you got to make yourself uncomfortable. I mean, you got to make yourself so uncomfortable. Put up 1,000 shots. Get in the weight room and get stronger, stronger, stronger. Condition yourself, And I tell them, do you always have to have a coach that hovers over you? And it's like, man, if you really want to play on the next level and you have this dream, some of these things you're going to have to do on your own. You're going to have to go out there and run 2 miles on your own to be in shape. You're going to have to put extra time in the weight room, put extra time on the floor, and that amount of work is going to come back with rewards. And so those are some of the things that I tell them about, what it takes to play on the next level. Well, I think one of the things that parents have to understand is that you're at home with the kid. You see the kid every day at home, okay? And as a coach, and I would probably say most coaches feel this way, I'm with the kid every day at school, and I see him in the environment at school, and that includes the extracurricular activity of basketball. He's practicing with me every day, so I see what he's doing every day and his development every day. And sometimes what parents don't see is they don't see, okay, you're with them at home, you watch them play, okay? You watch them play, but I'm with them a lot more than the parent is in terms of practicing every day, working out in the weight room, doing conditioning, doing agility drills. And so that's one of the biggest, things that you see with the parent is that, sometimes they will ask me, okay, why is he not playing? Or why is he not getting this amount of minutes? And I'm like, well, this is what he's doing in practice. Or he's got a bad attitude. Or he's not a good teammate. Or, he's done this in school. And we've had to take action on, something they've done they shouldn't be doing. So it's one of those things where they don't see everything that the coach sees sometimes. And I think that's a big key with parents. Well, though, they ask things like, Coach, what level of conditioning does it take to play in college? What about my body, Coach? They'll ask about my body, okay, am I strong enough? Do I need to get stronger? And it's in high school players, I'll be honest with you, all high school players have to get stronger. And that's one of the things about high school. You take a freshman, a sophomore, their bodies are still growing, they're still developing, and sometimes, that happens at a later time. But those are things that kids will ask me, hey, Coach, is my body good enough to play on that level? And I'll say, not right now, but we're working on it, and we've got to do the right kinds of things that get your body right. And it's not just about pumping iron, but it's about nutrition, eating the right kinds of foods that make you an elite athlete. They ask me about, Coach, what about my skill level? Is my skill level good enough to work on the next level? And I'll tell them, your handles have got to get better. I said, you're 6'5", you play 5 for us, but on the next level, you're going to play on the perimeter, okay? And we do stuff to help kids develop perimeter skills so that they can get those developed and be ready for the down the road. But also at the same time, we run stuff to even help the kid. Like we might run an offense where we have all 5 on the perimeter, and so that helps them develop their skills too. So we're looking at ways, because the game has changed. It's a perimeter-oriented game where everybody really has to handle, pass, shoot, and those are things that I think are very, very important for the next level. You have to be skilled and you got to be strong.